It's pretty cool to work as a writing tutor. I mean, you get to hang out with some awesome people, the other consultants. You get to hang out with some awesome students and talk to them about their writing process, where they are, how they feel about it. And you know, a lot of the times it's really rewarding when you get to work with the same students and you can see how far they've come from the first time you work with them to the last time.
See, I work every day with students from all kinds of different backgrounds and majors with writing assignments. And then we do a combination of in-person tutoring and online tutoring. Personally, I've done a lot of online tutoring over these last several quarters, where basically we make comments on students' papers which they upload to Writing Center Online, where we can comment on their papers, leave them notes at the end of things they could work on, and so on.
I think it's not only to help them to improve their writing skills, it's also to help them feel confident about their writing.
Meeting all the people who come in, it's really cool to meet the different types of people who are here. And oftentimes, you make friends that you don't think you will.
I really enjoy helping other people become more confident in themselves, not just being better writers, but more successful as students.
I think that this is the most rewarding job that I've ever had. You do have a direct result of, you know, I had a breakthrough with a student, or you know, she really came to me with something personal and we were able to get through it together, or you know, I learned something more about myself, and it's just really rewarding almost every day.
Being able to be a part of the academic community here at UWT, I get to build relationships with students. I've learned more about like services and what we offer. I've learned more about the campus itself through this job.
Before I came here, I didn't think there would be as much help with citations. I didn't realize that so many people struggled with it.
When I started working here, they trained me, and a lot of the knowledge that I gained about writing and about grammar I actually learned working with students.
I think there's more e-tutoring appointment than I expected, and first I thought writing tutor is something like you interact with students. But e-tutoring is more like you working on a paper and give them feedback through like words.
Here is finding the right way to comment on e-tutoring appointments. So in other words, when you're working with a person one-on-one in person, it's very easy, you know, to ask questions, you know, be like, what did you mean here? Or you know, like, could you expand a little bit upon this? Or, you know, negotiate what you want to get out of the appointment. But in online tutoring, you can't do that. You're basically stuck with, you know, a little note that the person left online, and sometimes not even that. So many times you'll have to make decisions on, you know, what should be prioritized. You know, what does the student need? And say they ask for, you know, just grammar or something, you know, should you look at higher level concerns first, even if they don't necessarily ask for it?
I worked at the TLC, I kind of had that perception that this was a place where people went to maybe get help with grammar, or people who weren't very comfortable with the writing process. So I guess what's surprising to me is the number of students who come in who are very comfortable with the writing process, but they just want someone to talk through their ideas with, or maybe they're in a subject that's new to them, so they, you know, want pointers in that area. So it's just nice to know that any student comes to the TLC.
Jobs helped me a lot as a writer, because I believe one of the most important parts of growing as a writer is critiquing other people's writing and basically figuring out what's working, what's not working in other people's writing. And also, you see, like, being exposed to so many different styles of writing and so many different disciplines is immensely helpful.
When you write isolated, you kind of get stuck in your own ways for a while, and I think that was happening to me. But working here with the students and with other peer consultants, you get to see, you know, different types of writing styles, different approaches to writing. So just being exposed to different varieties of approaches to the writing process, you know, all the way from the beginning to the end, has been really helpful to really shake up my own writing process and help me stretch my own thinking and see that, you know, there's more than one way to approach writing a paper.
When you're giving a student advice, you can sort of put yourself in their shoes and see that, and sort of ask yourself like what the instructor is asking of the student, and sort of extrapolate that onto yourself. So it really does give you some flexibility in terms of assignments.
When you meet writers who are a little bit more reserved about their work, So in other words, say someone who might not be entirely confident about their work, and just views you as the ultimate authority on what works in their writing and what doesn't. So instead of it being an equal exchange of ideas, the tutor is basically the teacher and the tutee is just taking everything they say and applying it to the paper, which isn't always positive. So I think it can be a challenge sometimes, getting those people to come a little bit out of their shell, and take more of an active role, in talking about their paper and ultimately writing it.
Helping students with things that I don't know, because I feel like when they ask me a question, I have to give them an answer. And it's sometimes hard for me to admit when I don't know an answer. So it's been kind of a process trying to teach myself, like when I don't know an answer off the top of my head, we should teach the student to where they can find that information and how to look it up.
The biggest challenge for me has been coming out of my shell. I'm pretty shy, so I knew coming into this job that obviously I would have to sit face to face with people, so I was a little bit nervous about going into that. But then, I realized everyone else is just as nervous as I am, and there's really nothing to be afraid of, and that it's a really safe place, it's really comfortable. You have a tremendous support system from your co-workers, and all the students are really great, so it hasn't been as hard as I thought to come out of my shell.
Sometimes, especially during finals week, I'm here for 7-hour blocks, and so you could have 14 half-hour appointments, which doesn't really happen, but sometimes it does. And sometimes at the end of the day, I leave here and I just realize how mentally exhausting this job is, and it's not it's not a bad thing. It's just it really does challenge your intellectual capacity, your ability to be adaptive and flexible in situations. You're basically talking all day for 7 hours, which can also be very tiring.
It's really, really cool when you're sitting here at the table and students will just come up to you, and there'll be students that you had maybe over the course of a quarter, and they'll just come up and they'll start talking to you, and you'll have these inside jokes, and it's really fun and rewarding to see that, when people first come in, they're really apprehensive about the center and about tutors in general, and then by the end, they're your good friends.
In a previous quarter, when I had a student come in who I had been working with for weeks on her final project, and she finally expressed to me how grateful and happy she was for how well the project turned out, and I found that to be very fulfilling.
We started off kind of talking about her paper and what she wanted to work on and this and that, and we were going into the details of everything, but then we just kind of started talking about the issues within the paper, something about gender issues. I won't go into it now, but we really just connected together and had this tangent discussion on whatever was bothering us as young women in society, and it was just nice to have such a personal conversation with someone that I met 10-15 minutes ago, and she felt comfortable enough to tell me personal stories, and I felt comfortable enough to tell her the same. And I mean, I don't know how helpful it was for her actual paper, but it was nice to have that connection and that conversation on a deeper level.
The student I work with, we've been working together for about a year. We get along really well. We were working on her study abroad application, and she was panicking about it because she really wanted to go. And so for a couple weeks, she came in, she brainstormed, she drafted, she revised, she edited, and then she finally submitted it, and she was going to tell me whether or not she got in the next week. And I was with another client. She came in and left me a note and left, and when I went and opened the note, it said, "I did it, I'm packing my bags for Vienna," and that was just the best feeling that she said that she did it.